Sekiro is nothing but a Dark Souls clone. So I was sitting here thinking about it, and I'm like, has From Software won any award at one of these shows? Then I started thinking, well, Dark Souls 3 would be their only entry, right? Because it's only been going for 5 years, and Dark Souls 3, I think, came out around 5 or 6 years ago at this point. So they might not have had any entries in, and I feel like this was a huge makeup call for From. This was just like almost like a validation for like, we know Elden Ring is going to be great, so make it great. Or this was like a makeup. I know all the Dark Souls games were great, but we're going to give you an award for Sekiro because that's the game you have on the docket. This is bullshit. From Software, just like you and just like me who know, and I am a fan of the Souls games. Don't get me wrong, I've played them all. We both know, and From Software itself knows, that Sekiro wasn't the best game of the Souls genre. We all know that, right? We can all say that Sekiro is not number one in terms of any Demon Soul game, Dark Souls games, or Bloodborne, right? It's just not number one. So to give them the award based on them not even making the best version of a Souls game that they make is kind of a bullshit and a real signal that just says they gave them an award because they either haven't won an award because the show and the games didn't line up, or they really want to slight Kojima and not give him Game of the Year. Honestly, there's no reason why he shouldn't have won Game of the Year with Death Stranding. It's totally innovative. It's not for everybody, and these are the things that we could praise. One thing that was really cool about the award show is that Disco Asylum, it was an indie game and it did win a multiple awards, and that's really dope. Now, I wouldn't play Disco Asylum necessarily, but to think that Death Stranding wouldn't win Game of the Year is just a real shock to me. It makes me question now the voters and the 10% the fans get, even though that there was one category where all the fans got their what do you call it? See, I'm running ads here. Like, I don't want to see ads for X company or X thing. Like, I just had to fast forward it in the video because I wanted it to be more about the games and the categories. Dang, I lost my train of thought there, but so I'll just continue with the categories. The categories, I felt like last year they might have been different categories, or maybe the quality of games in those categories was just a little bit more clear cut and defined. Best action game of the year, which was Sekiro again. So Sekiro won best, game of the year and won best action game. What do you classify Death Stranding as? Because if you don't, they threw it in action game, I believe, as a nominee. But if you don't really consider it an action game, then it needs a different category. If it didn't meet the categories you had, you needed to make a category for it at the very least. So that was very disappointing to think that Sekiro was. I don't remember. I played it. I beat it. I do not remember Sekiro being like, oh my god, this is Game of the Year. The funny thing is, I remember thinking that before Sekiro came out. And I think you did too. And I think that sentimentality really sat in the judges' minds, that we all really had the highest of high hopes for Sekiro. But when we got it, we all knew that something minorly major, which is so weird to say, was missing from the game to make it that Game of the Year, to make it that new thing, new style. It just didn't do any of that, and I think they played on that very, very much, and didn't count Death Stranding for what it is doing. Again, I'm talking about the ads here. Cool, Senua's Sacrifice or Hellblade 2 Saga. That looks really cool. You make that like a Banner Saga game. I'm really about that. Make it a trilogy. Don't try to make it like a Tales story game, because when you have the word saga there, it could mean multiple installments. I would rather just see a trilogy of Hellblade. So let's keep going on with the show a little bit. I'm just kind of fast forwarding and talking here because it's just a disgrace that Death Stranding didn't win. A disgrace. And I do think it had the best music there too. They have a weird category called audio. I don't understand why the Game Awards are being so passively aggressive with their categories and so liberal. I don't know why they can't just be very straightforward. Action game, adventure game, horror game. First of all, there was no platforming really category. Again, Kingdom Hearts. Let me grab it. This is a platformer, right? Where are the platformers? If we can't validate platformers, we'll never get platformers. And say what you will about Kingdom Hearts 3, it was better than Sekiro. Like you know that, right? And I know that. It was better than Sekiro. So it's really hard for me to really, I'm trying to find the words, and I've been trying to all day, to emphasize the fact that there's no way on God's green earth that Sekiro wins Game of the Year. And I didn't even play Control. But Control did win Best Art Direction. That is what Control won, Best Art Direction. Now, how is Control the best art direction? Honestly, when you had a game like Gris up there, and I got to see the trailer for Gris, and the art in that game is very, very top-notch in terms of its style. But when you're talking about video game art, you would give that to Death Stranding just for the fact that the BTs and the baby and the gear and all of the whole look of it all. Control is just Quantum Break, except it just looks a little better. So I just don't understand that pick. It's dope that this popped up on my screen. Apex did win Multiplayer Game of the Year only because it was new and it hit Fortnite. So that's cool. I don't necessarily want to see I hope Battle Royale, people were saying that Battle Royale was just a phase. It's not a phase. I just hope that it comes to a little bit more of a slowdown, so that the gaming world understands that we need to make more things like Death Stranding and not like Fortnite. In every sense of the word, design, monetary goals, especially monetary goals, all of it. So it was cool to see Fortnite take a hit, but it still won a category that it just shouldn't win. You're telling me that a black hole added to your game, which was really in response to the fact that Apex released a new map. Now, we could be a conspiracy theorist and think that two companies talked to each other, they planned it this way, or you could think of it as Apex actually did something shocking to the Battle Royale format and released a map, and then Fortnite responds with its black hole. But I don't think that was enough weight on the year to warrant an award to really be looking back on it. I think Final Fantasy XIV actually did that with the whole summer. If the month prior to when it came out and 2 months after, there's a 5-month span there where Final Fantasy XIV was just killing it. So I'm really disappointed there again. I want to look back on some of my votes and picks. I knew some of my picks would be off considering I didn't play some of the games. I want to know what you all really think, especially about the esports as well. I just cut to it now. I voted this guy. I actually picked this guy to win because he had the best. He's the best story there. He's under 18 years old and won a Fortnite tournament, $3 million. I knew he would be Gamer of the Year, but I wanted to see the dude who won Hearthstone. I wanted to see him nominated. I've said that, and I'll tell you now. I don't know much about the esports scene. Maybe I'm not looking at it where they're posting it, but I do watch esports. I just don't. I need less esports categories, and I want more gaming categories. It was just a shock to me that you could do it. Now, Stadia is quite frankly a bust. I know one person who's got a Stadia. He likes it. No one likes to say that they made a bad purchase. And hey, I'm with you. I buy things first generation to see how they are and see how the tech might grow. But there was a lot of Stadia commercials here. Again, I understand it's a show. But these commercials were built into the show versus where you're getting a commercial at the ESPYs. That's just a commercial break and they'll run all their commercials. That's kind of what I'm hinting at when I say I want a lot of that taken out and more of a focus on the show itself. We're not advertising to nobody. You got a packed house at the Video Game Awards. You got Green Day performing. Keep that kind of energy and vibe and give more awards to the people. best art director, right? So we get to put a face to the name of the person creating the characters we love. Best supporting actor, then I could give it to maybe Mads, or I can give it to someone else, because then you're not slighting Death Stranding in any way, because Death Stranding deserved it with Sam Porter. I mean, it's just wild to me. It's just wild. If you wanted to give Sekiro an award, give it Action Game. I will give you that, because you don't have you had Kingdom Hearts as nominated for things, but it just didn't win nothing. So, okay, give it to them. But I know I'm rambling, I'm stumbling, I'm fumbling over the words, because my disappointment level is just so high.